All right, guys, Jameson and Alex here. Today we're going to be talking about the College of Masks Bard from Valda's Spire of Secrets Kickstarter. So, if you're new to the channel or the subclass series, we're going to go through all the abilities gained in the subclass, and we're going to rate it based on its roleplay value, combat value, and overall class synergy, based on how the abilities gained improve on the base class abilities. We also have our giveaway for the D&D Beyond Players Bundle. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in that. And again, thank you to our sponsors, Hit Point Press.
That's right.
Make sure you check them out. Their website, they have all kinds of cool stuff constantly coming out. Campaign settings, character options, accessories, animated spell cards, all kinds of cool stuff
all of the
for
things.
sure. So make sure you check them out, guys, as always. But we'll jump straight into this, guys. College of Masks. Alex, what do we get?
Masks?
Really?
Yes. We get masks.
Weird.
That's the whole thing. We're done. Like it's masks. You get a bunch of them. Anyway,
It's Majora's Mask.
yeah, kind of. So starting off, bonus proficiency level 3, proficiency in the performance skill. Done.
All right.
Then we get to what the whole thing's built on: the persona masks. You learn to craft potent magical masks, each of which allows you to take on a different persona and gain some aspect of that archetypal character. You gain 2 persona masks of your choice at level 3, an additional mask at 6th level, and another additional mask at 14th level for a total of 4. You can exchange a mask you have for another mask whenever you gain a level in this class. If one of your masks is lost or stolen, you can remake the mask with 8 hours of work and 100 gold points worth of materials. You can put on a mask or switch a mask as a bonus action. Only you can gain the effects of your persona masks. Beginning at 6th level, some of your persona masks improve and gain additional abilities.
There you go. 6th level, you get Hidden Persona. You can use your bonus action to cause the mask you are wearing to become invisible or return to visibility. So if you're in some weird social circumstances where maybe wearing a mask isn't the best thing to do, you can hide it. So, other than that, not many uses to it. Then lastly, at 14th level, we have Master of Many Faces. You can wear 2 masks simultaneously, gaining the benefits of each mask.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's it. That's all you get, guys. Those are your abilities. But wait, we have to go through all the masks.
Yeah, because there are 10 of them.
So
we will go through them as quickly as we can to cover all the bases that we've got.
They're pretty simple for the most part.
Yeah. So starting off, we have Angel. An alluring, serene face gazes out of this mask of flawless alabaster. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend a use of your Bardic Inspiration to deal additional radiant damage to the target equal to the number you roll on the Bardic Inspiration die plus your Charisma modifier.
All right. Then we get the option for Archmage. You know the Firebolt cantrip as well as spells shown in the table below. As you gain higher levels in the class, you know additional spells while wearing the mask. They count as Bard spells for you, but don't count against total number of spells you know. Looking at the spell list on here, at 3rd level we get Gust of Wind and Scorching Ray. 5th level we get Lightning Bolt and Protection from Energy. 7th level we get Dimension Door and Ice Storm. And at 9th level we get Scrying and Wall of Stone. So a nice mix of both RP and combat on here for sure. Leaning a little bit more to the combat side.
For sure. Next up is the Devil Mask. An obsidian mask grins with the fangs and horns of a handsome fiend. As a reaction, when you take damage from a creature you can see within 5 feet of you, you can expend 1 use of Bardic Inspiration to deal fire damage equal to 2 rolls of your Bardic Inspiration die to the creature, a la like a Hellish Rebuke kind of thing.
Yep. Then we have the Dragon Mask. While you wear this mask, you can use your action to expend 1 use of your Bardic Inspiration to exhale destructive energy. Each creature in a 15-foot cone must make a dex save against your spell save DC. Creature takes fire damage equal to 3 rolls of your Bardic Inspiration die on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
Next up is the Faceless Mask. 2 perfectly round eye holes stare out of this otherwise featureless porcelain mask. While you wear this mask, you can cast the spell Disguise Self without expending a spell slot or material components.
Pretty nice for the RP side. Then we have the Fool Mask. Porcelain mask of the grinning jester is adorned with bells, ribbons, and vibrant checkerboard paints. While wearing the mask, your walking speed increases by 10 feet. Additionally, you can take the disengage action as a bonus action. And then when you hit 6th level with this mask, you can take the dash action as a bonus action as well. So you get a little bit of rogue in you.
Yep. Next up is Gladiator. The grim metal helm, pockmarked by scratch and conceals the entire face. While you wear this mask, you have proficiency with martial weapons and shields. Also beginning at 6th level, you can add your Charisma modifier to your melee weapon damage rolls.
All right. Then we have the High Priest Mask. This bronze mask bears the image of a holy symbol with the barest of slits to see out of. You know the Sacred Flame cantrip as well as spells shown on the table below. As you gain higher levels in this class, you know additional spells while wearing the mask. The spells count as bard spells, but don't count against the total number of spells you know. 3rd level, you get Aid and Lesser Restoration. 5th level, Mass Healing Word and Tongues. 7th level, Banishment and Death Ward. And 9th level, Greater Restoration and Mass Cure Wounds.
Next up is Lord. The gleaming silver mask bears a golden jeweled diadem instead of eyes. When a creature rolls one of your bardic inspiration die and rolls a 1, while you wear this mask, it can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. Improvement at level 6, the creature can re-roll the bardic inspiration die when it rolls a 1 or a 2 and must use the new roll.
Interesting. And then last but not least, we have the Spirit Mask. This white fabric mask conceals the face as a funeral shroud with 2 gold coins sewn over the eyes. You become invisible if you do not speak, move, or take any actions for 1 minute. You remain invisible for up to 10 minutes or until you remove this mask, take damage, make an attack, or cast a spell. While invisible, you can become half visible as a ghostly image or return to invisibility as a bonus action. And at 6th level, we have an improvement. While invisible, you levitate an inch above the ground, allowing you to ignore difficult terrain and make no noise while moving. Whew. Those are all the mask options.
That's all 10 of them.
So, all of that being said, guys, those are the abilities gained in the subclass. So now we'll move on into the rating portion of the video.
Yep.
First up is the roleplay value asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay value, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order.
Right.
Not talking about class, fantasy, history, lore, background that's on you as a player. Can't rate you, but we can rate the abilities gained and how they might improve your potential in those roleplay scenarios.
That's right.
So, all of that being said, looking back at the abilities on here, the proficiency with performance is nice, but you are a bard, and you have Jack of all trades.
So what do you care?
Proficiencies aren't as important because you do have Jack of all trades, so you're getting that half on everything anyways, and it is only 1 proficiency as well, so sure, whatever. It's nice, but nothing to write home about. Making masks invisible can help in certain social circumstances, of course, but it is, I would say, for the most part, very niche.
Right.
The other thing, though, on here, though, is there are several of the masks that are very good for RP.
Yeah, there are.
The ones that come to mind are Spirit, Lord, and Faceless. So with the Spirit mask, getting invisibility for 10 minutes that you can just do all the time is pretty solid.
You don't have to worry about the invisibility spell basically ever.
Yeah, and you can also appear as a ghost, so you could kind of scare people or do some shenanigans with that. Haunt them as, the person, a dead relative, or who knows, whatever. Then you have the Faceless mask, being able to cast Disguise Self basically at will.
Yep.
Definitely can be good for RP. And then the Lord mask, getting people to reroll on the Bardic Inspiration is going to make your Bardic Inspiration more potent. So, sure, why not?
Yep.
And then there are some arguments as well for the High Priest and Archmage masks for the RP side, because there are some RP spells in there, like if you do the High Priest, you get Tongues, for example.
Yep.
And for the Archmage, you get Scrying. So just as 2 quick references on there. Some other niche stuff on there for spells as well. But you also get access to other spells, which could let you take more RP spells for the Bard spell list. So something to keep in mind there with the RP side of things. But all that being said, you do only get 4 masks, which I think is going to be one of the hindrances to the subclass.
Yeah. You
can change them every level if you would like.
Yeah.
But
so
again,
you aren't locked into one. If you have one for 3 or 4 levels and you're just like, I've never used this, then you will have an opportunity to dump that mask for a different one.
But if you did take the 3 roleplay masks that I mentioned there, the Spirit, Lord, and Faceless, that only leaves you 1 other mask left for combat.
Yeah.
So that's one cost you have to consider when you're picking your masks. And again, you have the ability to change them, so it's nothing too crazy. But depending on the pacing of your campaign, you could be locked into something you're not super excited about for a period of time.
Yeah.
All of that being said, we give it a 3.5 on the roleplay side. There's some interesting options for sure. Disguise Self at will is pretty solid, but again, you have to choose it.
Yeah.
So there's a cost to choosing the RP ones over the combat ones.
Yep. An opportunity cost, even at that.
Yes, some would say.
Onto the combat side of things, where there's a nice little transition over, and I look at Jameson brought up the Lord mask. Immediately comes to me I will emphasize, as we always do, you play what you want to play. You play your character how you want to play it.
But
you've got to take the Lord mask.
It's just all around
because it's the only one that is so geared toward helping exactly what your bard's designed to do all the time.
I agree. That's
like
fair.
Bardic Inspiration, it helps in RP, helps you in combat.
Yep.
And based on your base class, you're going to have multiple ways to use it, so it's always good. And nothing's worse than using a feature and either it whiffing or getting just the minimal amount of impact.
Yeah.
So that one is almost it's almost a gotta take because it's the only one. I mean, besides the 2 spellcaster ones, it's the only ones that helps on both sides of things.
Right.
Besides that, I specifically will look at the Archmage one as another combat thing.
Yep.
Yes, there is, Lightning Bolt gives you damage, and Scorching Ray and Ice Storm gives you both CC and damage. Wall of Stone's going to give you CC. Dimension Door gives you an get out of jail free card, essentially. Yep. But actually, the thing that I find the most impactful in this whole thing is the Firebolt cantrip. Because do you know what bards don't have at all? Damaging cantrips. Like, it's Vicious Mockery and nothing else. Among at least the base ones. They're
RP cantrips.
Yes. But they just don't get access to good damaging cantrips at all. So they go from not having any to getting arguably the second best, or like it's just
top. Sure. It's up there.
It's one drop below like Eldritch Blast. It's like there's Eldritch Blast, and then there's like 3 or 4 cantrips that are like right below it. Both because of the damage it does and the range at which you can fire it is what makes it so good. So that option's fantastic. Then the fact you do have choices between Devil giving you Hellish Rebuke, Angel giving you extra radiant damage, the Dragon Breath option, Gladiator giving you martial weapons and shields, giving you more melee focused. The Fool giving you some roguish abilities to get in and out in trouble a little bit better. All of those, and of course it's the High Priest other caster, all of those can have different combat options. And depending on how you want to play this character, you've got a couple of different options.
Yeah,
if you really wanted to lean more into spellcasting side of the bard, you could take Lord, as you should, and then you could take both of the caster options, and you could have access to 8 more spells that you just know as a bard all the time. That's amazing, just to be able to add that to your spell list. And then you could have one for focus primarily on RP for other purposes.
Right.
But the point still goes back to Jameson made on the RP stuff. Any choice you make to lean into one area is going to hurt you in the other because you're going to max out at 4 of these.
Right.
And once you hit level 6, you're going to have 3. You're going to wait till 14 to get that 4th one, which is a huge gap difference.
Yep.
So we went another 3.5 on the combat side of things because those 2 numbers are going to be shifting dramatically, or can, based on how you build it. Because if you go like the 2 casters, Lord and Gladiator, for example, well, all 4 of those are much more combat oriented with a dabble of RP from like Lord and the spellcasters.
Right.
Lord helps both immensely, but anyway. Whereas if you go, if you go like the 2 casters, Lord and Faceless, that's going to bring the RP score up and the combat down.
Right. So
there's choices, but there is some sacrifice either way you go.
Yes, agreed. And then lastly, we have the overall class synergy, which, gotta say, I'm very interested in this. And with the Bard class, initially your main things you're going to have, Jack of all trades comes into play, but in the main things you're working with is your Bardic Inspiration and your spell slots are really your really go-to things as a Bard.
Yep.
That being said, there's actually some major synergy between masks and having double masks and invisible masks. There's all kinds of interaction with the masks. And you can, like Alex said, you can customize your bard to make it exactly how you want. You could play this subclass multiple times and have a very different experience each time you play it.
Yeah, you could roll Gladiator, Fool, Angel, and Archmage and be like right in there cutting people up and then throwing spells for AoE stuff. Or you can play heavy caster. You can lean heavy into support, heavy into RP.
Yeah. It is interesting with that. And then access to additional spells definitely comes into play.
Yep.
But I think, also you're getting bonus uses for your Bardic Inspiration. Because as you notice with some of the spells, they are using Bardic Inspiration on top of, the ability. So you're either using a reaction or an action or bonus action plus a Bardic Inspiration. So you are limited a little bit by your Bardic Inspiration, which you do get back on short rest.
Yep.
After a few levels.
Yeah, eventually.
Most of the time, if you get it early enough, it's whatever. It's not a big deal. You just consider you have it all the time. But that being said, we'll get them back on short rest eventually. And with that, I think the most interesting thing is that the masks are bonus action.
Yes.
So you can do some really cool stuff where you're switching masks as a bonus action. Like maybe you need a certain spell, you put on that mask as a bonus action, and you cast that spell.
Yeah.
And you maybe take it off next turn to switch to, like maybe you're just switching between the two masks, the two spells.
Spellcasters. Yeah. It's like if you've always got Lord on, so you're always helping your Bardic Inspiration. You're like, you know what? I kind of really need that Dimension Door to get out of trouble. Bonus action Archmage and bye. Next turn, you could go bonus action back to the High Priest, so you can then heal your party up. Or banish somebody, tell somebody to leave.
And the thing, too, is as a bard, you really, bonus action that you're going to ever be doing is Bardic Inspiration for the most part.
Right.
Unless you have some other weird shenanigans going on. But if you're not doing that, now you have basically every turn potentially something to do with your bonus action.
Yeah, you have an option to swap them,
That it can come into play and be very interesting dynamic to, like, oh, I need something right now. Well, I have access to it now. Bonus action, use it. You know, and then next turn you're like, I don't need this anymore. Bonus action, switch. I can use this other thing now. Gain extra movement speed or whatever to get out of trouble. So definitely very interesting. An interesting dynamic between using bonus actions with the extra Bardic Inspiration uses with the additional spell slots.
Can build this three drastically different ways with other little hybrid options kind of in between.
So we went with a 4.5 on the synergy side.
But like versatility, we like options, and this thing has got it in spades.
Yes. So definitely a very interesting. I think this is one of the more interesting subclasses. That's one of the things I like about Valda's Spire is they kind of go out of the box a little bit.
A little?
Well,
some of them are way outside the box.
Some of them are way out there, but it's kind of throwing in new things that you maybe wouldn't have considered.
But a lot of them, even the ones that are going way outside the box, either in a fun way or an interesting way.
Yes.
So again,
I'll take it.
I always emphasize this. Anytime we're getting new content of any kind, whether it's official Wizards of the Coast or it's homebrew, custom things like this, does it stick out as unique enough, interesting enough, so it doesn't feel like it's just forced in there just to be something? Right. And this definitely is one of the best examples of that, of being like swapping these masks around, almost like you're changing your subclass, almost kind of at will. Once a turn, essentially, be able to.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely very interesting. Big fan of this one from a thematic standpoint, if anything. And one thing it does remind me of quite a bit, actually, is a subclass we've covered recently, which would be the College of Rhodes Bard, which has a similar kind of feel.
It does,
which is from our sponsors, Hit Point Press.
That's right.
And their Humblewood box set.
Because they kind of like to grab different features from other classes and roll them into themselves.
If you like this, definitely check that one out as well. It's another alternative to a kind of similar style, but a little bit different.
Yeah, you're more committal to what you pick with that one. But I would say each one is more specifically impactful, not as for general use helpful.
Right.
But
if you're interested in this one, definitely worth checking out the other Bard Road.
Definitely leans into I can do whatever I want because I'm a Bard.
And again, thanks to the Hit Point sponsors on there, so make sure you check them out as well too, guys. But that's going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, when the new videos are coming out. And as always, thanks for watching.